Hello everyone, welcome to the first chapter of macroeconomic. So, what's GDP? GDP is the gross domestic product. It's a measure of aggregate output. In other words, is a total output. It's the sum of the values of final products produced in an economy during a given period. So it's for example, a country that only sells bread and cars, well, the total value of the cars and the bread produced by the country given during a year would be its GDP. It measures the overall value of all the final products. Then we have two very important notions: nominal GDP and real GDP. So, nominal GDP is the product times the current prices. So, it's the sum of the quantities of final goods produced times their current prices. Let's take the example of the chart. Nominal GDP is 200,000 in 2011. So, it's the quantity of cars 10 times the price of the cars 20,000, and it will be the same for each year. Then we have the real GDP, which is the product times constant prices. So let's take the example of the chart again. The real GDP in 2012, let's say in 2011 is 240,000. So what we have to do is just 12, the quantity of cars of 2012 times the price of cars of the year. So 12 times 20,000 is 240,000. And it will be the same for each year in which we multiply by the quantity of cars of the given year. So 2012. Then here's another exercise. I'll let you do it or think of it with the formula below. The second notion is inflation. It will be less, I'll say, important because during the midterm, it will normally have exercise on GDP, but not on inflation. But nonetheless, what is inflation? So inflation is the rate at which the general price level of goods and services in an economy rises over time, leading to a decrease in purchasing power. It can also decrease over time, of course. So here's an example: the change in GDP in 2011 to 2013. So for nominal GDP, what we have to do is um, first do a subtraction of the nominal GDP of 2013 minus the nominal GDP of 2011 and the everything over the nominal GDP of 2011. Then we'll find the percentage. And for the real GDP, in which, well, basically is the same process as well. The real GDP of 2013 minus the real GDP of 2011, the everything over the real GDP of 2011. So here's two examples you can do, in which you can do an exercise. Then we have the third notion, unemployment. Unemployment is quite important because it was in our last year midterm. So, as you can see on the chart, we first have labor force. Labor force is the part of the population who is working or who is unemployed, which means that they are currently seeking for a job. So, in the labor force part, we have unemployed people, which is noted U, and employed people, which is noted N. Then we have discouraged workers. Discouraged workers are people who are giving up or looking for work and has left the labor market. Then we have not working ages, so I'll say us. And then we have some formulas. L equal U plus N, so labor force equal unemployment plus employed with an unemployment rate, it's U over L, so employed over labor force. And finally you have participation rate, which is L labor force over the population of working age. So yeah, here this is everything you need to know about session 1. You can do all the exercises on the drive.